Yo, what up? I don't want to be on here too long because I wasn't gonna do no content, no video today or whatever, or live, or whatever this shit's called. But I thought I'd touch on this because I'm trying to understand. And I've been like, I know y'all heard what I said the other day and shit about how these motherfuckers are always talking about black fighters and they're always trying to find ways to discredit us, not knowing that that actually makes our fighters or improves how great our fighters are when you have to dedicate yourself as a boxing fan to trying to find ways to discredit somebody. That actually makes the fighter looks even better because, like I said, you wouldn't talk like that. You wouldn't go out your way to try to discredit a fighter over and over again if you didn't feel some kind of way about them where you think they're great. You wouldn't do that. You would focus on other fighters. But today, I really just got a simple question. And I wouldn't mind if people actually got in the comment sections and actually answered this question. But why is Triple G, Gennadiy Golovkin, right? Why is he being praised, right? Somebody said this, and I thought about it. I'm like, that's facts, bro. And I thought about this a while ago, but I like Triple G, so I didn't kind of like look at it too tough. Because I like Triple G. I think Triple G was a great fighter. So this ain't really a diss to Triple G. It's really these so-called fans of the sport that claim they really know boxing. And my thing is, why is he praised, right? You know, and Terence Crawford is getting all this hate. Like, why is that? That's just weird to me. I don't know about all that. I don't think that's the correct behavior people should be doing, because like, you look at Triple G's career, we keeping it real. Like, outside of fighting Canelo and that Danny Jacobs fight, he was just knocking out a bunch of C-level guys. He wasn't really fighting no legit competition where it's like, okay, these guys are actually good competition. Even if he was winning, he wasn't fighting guys like that. Terence Crawford did. You know what I mean? Like, he has a better resume than Triple G. He fought better fighters than Triple G. You know, he won multiple belts in multiple weight classes, something Triple G never did. And then he retired off a win, something Triple G didn't do. You know, Triple G retired off a loss. His last time we saw him in the ring, he lost. And I'm trying to think, why is he praised more than Crawford despite that? Like, what are his signature wins? I would like to say Canelo, but as we know, those fights were declared a draw, and then the second fight was declared a win for Canelo. But if you sit back and watch the fight, it looked like Triple G won, but that's not in the, you look in the record books, boxrec.com or anywhere you can get some boxing history, is going to say it was a win for Canelo. So, and that's actual reality. So I can't say how I feel when the actual reality is it was scored a win for Canelo. So I can't say he beat Canelo. Eye test wise he did, but the judges felt differently. So outside of the Canelo fights, what was Triple G's signature win? I know you're not going to sit up here and tell me David Lemieux or Willie Monroe. I doubt that. So I asked again, what was his signature win? What was this great win that he had? Like, what was it? You know? Like, Terence Crawford got a way better resume than that dude. Different weight classes he won belts in. Triple G ain't do none of that shit. As great as he was, he ain't do none of that shit. So why is he getting all this praise and he's so great and he had a great career? He don't got to do nothing. He didn't have to fight this fighter. He didn't have to fight that fighter. They want this nigga Terence Crawford to fight basically every fighter before he retires and shit. And he don't even have to do that, but they want him to do that. But we all know what's going on. They just want to see the guy lose, because people be so caught up in having a favorite fighter, they kind of like forget how boxing actually works. And that's what a lot of niggas is guilty of. Because, like, I'll say this. 13 years ago, right? December 2012, when Manny Pacquiao fought Juan Marquez. Both of those guys are legends, right? Both of those guys are legends. Marquez is a legend and Pacquiao is a legend. When they fought, I wanted Pacquiao to win, right? I wanted Pacquiao to win. He got dropped in that fight, and then he got knocked out cold, as you guys all know about that. I didn't, I was kind of disappointed the fighter I was rooting for lost, but I didn't get on no hate and shit and start hating on Marquez and then go out my way to find ways to discredit that, like niggas be doing Terence Crawford. I didn't do no shit like that. I kept that shit solid and said, hey, Marquez won that shit, fair and square. And I left it alone. You dig? But with Terence Crawford, it's like people are unable to do that. They're just, oh, well, he did this, he did that, all negative shit. And then they're saying, oh, well, he got to fight this guy, he got to fight this guy. Like, and that's not even how boxing works, but everybody's talking like that. They want a 38, 39-year-old man to fight for another 4 or 5 years, fighting all these guys when he don't even have to do that. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't understand, bro. But they don't have that same energy for other fighters, like Triple G. There's a lot of guys that Triple G didn't fight when he was running. When Triple G was doing this dirt, there's at least 3 or 4 fighters that would have been legit competition he didn't fight. He fought Canelo, but outside of Canelo, it's like, that was pretty much it. Because the only fights he had his whole career that were actual competitive fights, where it's like, okay, he's not just walking over these dudes. These are entertaining fights. Was Canelo and the Miracle Man. That's it. You know? But nobody is like, he just got put in the Hall of Fame or inducted. Nobody is protesting that, though. They're saying he's a Hall of Famer despite that. But people are tearing down Crawford because he decided to retire at 38 years old, undefeated, 3 times undisputed champion. He beat the top guy on the way out. What bigger win are you going to get as a boxer in this current boxing game better than beating Canelo? Like, it's not happening. Let's say he would have fought Boots and beat Boots. That wouldn't have been a bigger win than beating Canelo. You know what I mean? Janabek and shit. You know, dudes like that. Nobody really gives a fuck about Janabek except people from Kazakhstan. That's it. You know, so that's just real. That doesn't mean Janabek's a bad fighter. It's just facts. Ain't nobody worried about him. So I don't get it, bro. Like, it's just weird how people like are just fake. Like, so you can give this guy credit, but you can't give that guy credit because you feel a certain way. You're not supposed to feel a certain way. You're supposed to respect the game and call what you see and give credit when credit is due. And it's just kind of disappointing that you got grown-ass men on the internet that can't do that for certain fighters, but they can do that for other fighters. Then you call them out on that shit. You know how that shit go. Oh, you're being a victim. You're race baiting. You know, stupid shit like that. That's their best comeback and shit, when you hit them upside the head with some reality. And it's like, and these are grown-ass men and shit. It's not like I'm talking to a bunch of kids or some high school shit or something. These are grown-ass men that are like at least 25 and up, I like to believe. And they're acting like that. And these are the people you talk about boxing with, or try to have talks about boxing with. The shit is crazy. You know what I mean? And that's what we got going on out here. You know, because you're not, you know, everybody's a hater. And then the thing about it is, people don't want to give certain fighters credit, even though credit is due. So you can't talk to people like that, because what's going to happen is you're just going to find yourself in a conversation full of dishonesty. And why would you do that? Why would I talk to a motherfucker that I know is just going to be dishonest and be biased? I'm wasting my time. You know what I mean? So it don't even make sense to do that. Y'all just gonna get up here and cap, be biased, hate on fighters, say all type of nonsense. You know what I mean? So why talk to you about boxing if I know you're gonna do that? That's why now I'm starting to kind of lean more towards like just getting on my own lives, doing my own boxing shit, and just talking about my shit, and then let people listen to what I'm saying, because I base my shit off facts, meaning I base my shit off what I actually see. I don't just, oh, I feel some kind of way, so I'm just going to say something crazy. That's what everybody's doing, you know, and I don't do that. I base shit off facts and what I see. You know, I'm actually watching these niggas fight. I'm actually breaking down these niggas' skill sets. Motherfuckers would rather focus on what happened outside the ring or all type of controversial shit that don't really matter, because originally fighters got judged off their skills and what they do in the ring. That's originally what people judged and celebrated boxers off of. But now it's different now. People, they judge and celebrate you off the wrong thing now. You know, that's how this shit works. And I don't be doing that. You know, like I said, Triple G is a great fighter. No doubt about that. But shit, he's not better than Crawford. And he does not have the fucking resume. He don't have none of that shit. That he didn't achieve the greatness that Crawford achieved. Crawford is way more accomplished as well as a better boxer. And people would rather talk down on Crawford instead of, I'm not saying talk down on Golovkin, but it shouldn't be a scenario where you're praising Golovkin, but you're like, oh, fuck Crawford. That shouldn't be happening. And that's what's happening. And that's not, to me, that warrants somebody like me speaking out against that. It warrants that. Solidus, ever since Canelo lost, IBFP doesn't go live 3 times a week no more. Yeah. You know, he had to switch up. As we both know, he had to do that because everybody was so salty over there that he lost, so they had to do that. So we understand that. But you know, like I said, man, these guys on the internet with this boxing talk, man, these motherfuckers is a trip over here. YTBC, these motherfuckers is a trip. You know, niggas be talking about I be emotionally invested in fighters and shit. I'm emotionally invested in factual information. That's what I'm emotionally invested in. Niggas be confusing that with I'm invested in a fighter. It's just like Devin Haney. Y'all know I like Devin Haney. I think he's a great talent. You dig? Regardless if he knock niggas out or not. When it's time to box, he got that shit on lock. But I'm not going to lie for the nigga. I told y'all a million times, when he fought Ryan, I gave Ryan his credit. Even though Ryan did some crazy shit, it is what it is. You know, he got caught. They had some controversy where allegedly he was cheating or whatever. He said some shit about black people. It is what it is. Ain't nobody crying about that shit. You know what I'm saying? He still beat Devin, though, when they fought. When they were actually in the ring fighting each other, Ryan won. He dropped him 3 times, and he got the dub. Fair is fair. And I'm a Devin Haney fan. I am not a Ryan Garcia fan. See how I'm keeping it real? And I've been saying that since that fight happened damn near 2 years ago. See, these niggas, if that was their favorite fighter that got dropped 3 times and lost, they would come up with bullshit-ass excuses and discredit the other fighter. That's what they would do. Not like them. You know, they fake. I'm not. I keep it real. That shit, yeah, I wanted Devin Haney to win, but shit, he didn't win. Nigga, the game is the game. Respect it. But these niggas don't, these other niggas in the YTBC, a few of these niggas is cool, but a lot of these niggas, they not authentic. They're not authentic. These niggas is like the fake Jordans you buy at the hood spot instead of actually going to Foot Locker and buying the real Jordans. They not authentic. That's what these niggas is like. Nigga, I go to Foot Locker and buy the real Jordans, nigga. I spend that $200-something. Authentic shit. These niggas wearing that fake shit. Like, that's how fake these niggas is. That's all I want to say, man. I don't want to be doing no long-ass lives talking about no boxing. I got to stop doing that shit. But I just want to say that because I don't think that's fair that a guy like Triple G, who's a great fighter, like I said, but he has not accomplished what Terence Crawford has, but yet he's getting all this praise and Crawford's getting hated on and shit because motherfuckers is mad that he beat Canelo. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, like, come on now. If you was a real boxing fan, you would keep that shit thorough and say, oh, nah, Canelo lost. I wanted him to win, but he lost. Crawford was the better fighter. And then you'll just keep it gangster like that. These niggas up here crying and nitpicking and finding loopholes to hate on the man. Like, come on, bro. If you was a real nigga, you would not be doing that shit, man. These niggas ain't real, man. These niggas is not real. So that's all I want to say, man. I ain't finna be on here talking for no 25, 30 minutes. I ain't doing that shit. I wasn't even going to do a video today. So, yeah. Getting a late start on my gym, so I'm about to go up in here and hit this bag, but yeah. I'll be back in a hot second.